Welcome to Breaking International News. What message does Pakistan's meeting with Trump send? Iraq's Kataib Hezbollah warns U.S. again. Iran's 10 tactics that have stunned Israel. Netanyahu is wrong. We will not get involved in his war. Bernie Sanders. Israel stunned by Iran's multiple warhead missiles. Putin faces questions over Khamenei assassination threat. What message does Pakistan's meeting with Trump send? A recent meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Pakistan's Army Chief Asim Munir was held. While the meeting indicates diplomatic progress for Pakistan, it also poses difficult questions. BBC News. Although the meeting held on Wednesday, June 18th, was officially promoted as a successful diplomatic effort within Pakistan, analysts say its political and international repercussions are much more complex, especially when the U.S. is once again becoming active in the Middle East with its anti-Iran stance. Pakistan has always opposed military action against Iran. It has even publicly described Israel's actions as ruthless. The Trump administration's anti-Iranian stance and pro-Israeli sentiment have therefore become a kind of policy dilemma for Pakistan. Pakistan is currently conducting a complex rescue operation to bring back nearly 3,000 citizens from Iran. In this context, questions are being raised in various quarters about what kind of message the closeness between Islamabad and Washington is sending. The 2-hour meeting was held without the presence of the media. Official statements on what exactly was discussed at the meeting were limited. When questions were raised in this regard at the Foreign Ministry press conference, the spokesperson's response was somewhat uncomfortable. The most pressing question was whether any civilian politicians were present at the meeting. Questions were also raised about Pakistan's democratic structure. The spokesperson replied, "Pakistan is a democratic state." However, he advised journalists to contact the military for details of the meeting. The comment further clarified that the meeting was primarily an army initiative and has sparked a new debate about the absence of civilian leadership. Iraq's Kataib Hezbollah warns U.S. again. The Iraq-based pro-Iran armed group Kataib Hezbollah has warned the U.S. that it will face dire consequences if it directly engages in war on Israel's behalf. Al Jazeera reported this in a report on Friday, June 20th. Abu Ali al-Askari, the group's spokesman, said in a statement, "If the U.S. participates in the Israeli attack, it will lose the investment promises it has received from the Gulf countries and face serious losses." He added, "There is no doubt that U.S. bases in the region will become a hunting ground. The Straits of Hormuz and Bab al-Mandeb will be closed, and the oil ports in the Red Sea will be paralyzed. The situation of their planes in the sky will also be deplorable." Earlier, Lebanese Hezbollah chief Naim Qassem announced in a long statement that it would stand by Iran. He said that Hezbollah will not remain neutral against the aggression of the United States and Israel, and that its resistance forces may be activated at any time. This position of Hezbollah is an expression of its unwavering support for Tehran. Currently, Iran, Lebanon's Hezbollah, and Iraq's Kataib Hezbollah, the three main forces close to Iran, have reached a single strategic position. They are sending a message of united resistance against the aggression of the United States and Israel, which is further intensifying tensions in the Middle East. Experts fear that if the situation progresses in this way, it creates the possibility of war spreading to a wider region. Iran's 10 tactics that have stunned Israel. In response to Israel's aggression, Iran has launched multiple rounds of missile and drone attacks in the past few days. The operation has been named Operation True Promise 3. According to analysts, Iran has not yet used its most advanced missiles, yet Israel's defense system has become virtually ineffective. On June 13th, Israel launched a unilateral attack on Iran, targeting Iran's nuclear, military, and residential facilities. Top military officials, scientists, and many civilians were killed. In response, the Aerospace Force of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, launched 13 rounds of missile attacks. Analysts have identified 10 important tactics of Iran's attack. The Tasnim news agency report highlights them. Irregular attacks day and night. Instead of a fixed time, Israel is unprepared to resist. Deception. A combination of real and fake attacks has confused Israel's air defenses. Use of various weapons, ballistic missiles and suicide drones have been used together. Modern defense breaches. Even the most advanced defense systems such as THAAD, Iron Dome, and David Sling have failed. Irregular missile launches. The use of missiles of different types and speeds has disrupted Israel's defenses. Surprise targets. Iran is constantly hitting new targets, which are unexpected for Israel. Unlimited attack area. Attacks are not limited to a specific area, but are spread across the entire occupied territory. Advanced Information Base. Iran has a detailed target list of military bases, oil refineries, and infrastructure. Intimidation. Iran has made it clear that no area in occupied Palestine is safe anymore. Through this, Iran is keeping Israelis in fear. New weapon secret. Iran has not yet used its most advanced missile, and it wants to surprise Israel in the future. Netanyahu is wrong. We will not get involved in his war. Bernie Sanders. U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders has strongly criticized Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's recent stance. In a statement, he said clearly, Netanyahu is as wrong now as he was in 2002. In the statement, Bernie Sanders mentioned that in 2002, while encouraging the United States to go to war in Iraq, Netanyahu said in Congress, Saddam is developing nuclear weapons, there is no doubt about it. If you overthrow Saddam's regime, I guarantee you, it will have a huge positive impact. Based on this statement, the Iraq War began, which resulted in a terrible humanitarian and economic disaster. Sanders also said, Netanyahu was wrong then, a terrible mistake. 4,492 U.S. soldiers lost their lives in that war, more than 32,000 were injured. Moreover, about $3 trillion were spent in that war. The most tragic thing is that millions of innocent Iraqis died. He said, even today, Netanyahu is taking the same kind of warmongering stance, this time targeting Iran. But America should not follow that wrong path again. We will not get involved in Netanyahu's war against Iran. Bernie Sanders' comments have sparked a new debate on the Israel issue in the United States. In particular, the dominant part of the Democratic Party, disagreeing with the policies of the Biden administration, is taking a stand in favor of a peaceful solution. Analysts say that diplomacy, not war, should be the way of the future in the Middle East. Israel stunned by Iran's multiple warhead missiles. Iran's armed forces have launched a 14th round of attacks against Israel. A cluster of strategic missiles and suicide drones were used in the attack. Iranian media claimed that the missiles used in Thursday's, June 19th, attack were of a completely new type. Iranian media claimed that most of these missiles penetrated Israel's multi-layered air defense system and hit various important installations in the capital Tel Aviv. Israel stunned by Iran's multiple warhead missiles. The Israeli military said that Iran used many warhead missiles, which created new challenges for the air defense system. The Israeli military announced on Thursday that Iran had used a multi-warhead missile in a recent attack, describing it as a new and complex threat to the country's defenses. Citing two security sources, Israeli Army radio reported that the Iranian missile, which targeted the Gush Dan area, was composed of several smaller submissiles. Upon impact, the missile broke up and hit multiple locations across the region. Putin faces questions over Khamenei assassination threat. Russian President Vladimir Putin has faced questions over the threat of killing Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Refusing to discuss the matter, he said that the Iranian people are uniting under the leadership of Tehran. Reuters reports. President Vladimir Putin faced questions from a journalist on Thursday, June 19th. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has openly speculated that an Israeli military strike could lead to regime change in Iran. On the other hand, U.S. President Donald Trump said on Tuesday that America knows where Khamenei is hiding, but Washington will not kill him for now. Asked what his reaction would be if Israel killed Khamenei with U.S. help, Putin said, I don't even want to discuss this possibility. I don't want to. When pressed, Putin said he had heard comments about the possibility of assassinating Khamenei but did not want to discuss it. We see in Iran today that, despite all the complexities of the internal political processes, the unification of society around the country's political leadership is underway, Putin told editors of senior news agencies in St. Petersburg in northern Russia. Putin said all sides should find a way to end hostilities in a way that would ensure Iran's right to peaceful nuclear energy and Israel's right to unconditional security. Iran and Israel have been engaged in a back-and-forth war. Both sides have suffered heavy losses in the 7-day conflict. Israel is targeting Iran's nuclear and military facilities. Iran, on the other hand, is carrying out counterattacks on key Israeli sites. However, the possibility of the United States getting involved in the war is raising concerns. In such a situation, Russian President Vladimir Putin has proposed protecting Iran's nuclear program. This was reported by the Economic Times in a report. According to the report, Putin said, Russia has good relations with Iran, so we have made an offer to Iran. If Iran wants, then Russia can run the work of Iran's nuclear project under its supervision. Russia also wants to keep an eye on the fact that Iran's uranium is used only for peaceful purposes. But all this will happen if Iran agrees. He also said that 2 nuclear reactors are being built in the city of Bushehr in Iran. Russian scientists are in charge of this work. Putin also spoke to Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu on the phone about this. Netanyahu said that they will not attack the area of Bushehr.